Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Namaganda Elizabeth Akankiza, and I'm the head of marketing for Nation Media Group Uganda. Today we are here at the Naro Center in Ntawo, that is Muzadi, and the reason we are here is because of the 19th Seeds of God Farm Clinic. It's the first of its kind, being that it is virtual. Yes, we've had all the other 18 in the past. This is the 19th, and it is a virtual one. Reason to why we had to do a virtual farm clinic, simply because of the new normal during the COVID-19 era. We realized that farmers are out yearning for information about farming. And we said, as opposed to collecting groups of people, why don't we use our platforms, one of our platforms, which is NTV Uganda, to be able to bring the virtual Seeds of God Farm Clinic. Today we are here to study about fish and coffee, and together with different sponsors and partners who have been able to help us, we've been able to achieve this. I want to thank Naro Uganda, which has been able to aid us into doing the virtual farm clinics by giving us the stations. And after this, we shall be visiting other two centers, that is to say on the 28th of November and 12th of December, still looking at the different enterprises as we shall have communicated to you. We thank Stanbic Bank Uganda for having put in a token to be able to have the virtual Seeds of God farm clinics. We also take our thanks to NSSF Uganda, which has also taken out a token to be able to contribute to the Seeds of God farm clinic, and especially aiding the voluntary saving, especially for those who are not in the corporate world. We thank Naro for having aided us with our trainers and everybody else, the crew. As you know, it is the first of its kind, it's virtual, so not everything is very simple. And as you can see the weather, it's been raining, but what is agriculture without rain? I want to take this opportunity to welcome Claire from NSSF, who will be giving you a word, and thereon we shall go on to the next speaker. Claire?
Thank you so much, my dear. Hello, I'm called Claire Ichuma from NSSF, and I'm here to specifically talk about the voluntary contributions product. This is our opportunity to encourage farmers to voluntarily contribute for themselves and consider how they want to live at a time when they cannot actively engage in active work. You know, when you're in your later years for your pension, voluntary contributions is a product that we've brought, and especially for people who are not covered by the mandatory product where your employer saves for you. So in this case, if you're a farmer and you're working, you're making some money, we give you an opportunity to save for yourself under the voluntary product. Thank you so much, Seeds of Gold.
Thank you, Claire. I'm going to take this opportunity to call upon the next representative from Stanbic Bank. Like I've said, Stanbic Bank has put in a lot of money to see that the farmers are able to get this virtual Seeds of God Farm Clinic live on NTV and also on all our pages streaming live.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers. My name is Melissa Nyakwera. I'm the head of agribusiness, Stanbic Bank. What can I say? I'm really glad to be here on behalf of Stanbic Bank. So we as a bank are very keen to support the agriculture sector because it's one of the biggest, it's a big sector. It employs 65% of our population, contributes 23% to GDP, and as such, as a financial institution, we are keen to partner with such programs as the farm clinics that bring knowledge to the farmers. We know one of the key issues or challenges that is facing our farmers is the fact that the yields are low, and that's simply because they are not applying the right practices. So we are keen to partner on the farm clinics because of that, but also it's to inform the public that as a financial institution, we are available to providing financial services to this sector. We provide financial services to the different players in the sector, right from the input providers, the farmers on an individual basis, or as farmer groups such as cooperatives or SACCOs, and the processors, the traders, the aggregators. So it's to just let you know that as Stanbic Bank, we are available to providing financial services to this sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire. Just a question. So in case a farmer is out there in the different districts of Uganda and they want to be able to get some of the facilities, where do they go to? Especially in the other parts of Uganda, say for Kampala. Kampala would be very easy. Somebody would easily walk into the bank and ask any information about agriculture. So how about elsewhere?
Thank you. We have a very big branch network. We have over 60 branches countrywide, so you can anyone can walk into one of those branches and they will be assisted. But we've also put up a virtual online assistance program where you can dial into one of our toll-free numbers and get condition and get to be assisted in terms of what is available for the farming or the agriculture industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much. So like we said, we're here at the Narrow Station, Muzadi Nintawo. And it's at this opportunity that I'm going to call upon Dr. Zarango, the host, who is also the director in the station, to come and give us one or two words, especially to welcome us at this center. Dr. Zarango, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. My name is Barbara Zawede Mugwanya, and I'm the director in one of the Narrow Research Institutes. Today we are at Mukono Narrow Institute and we welcome you. And today we are going to be showcasing what we have generated or what we have produced for you for fish and coffee. And we are going to be answering your questions. I'm hoping that we have your questions and we shall be answering them, and that we shall give you all the information that you need to help our farmers to transform agriculture. As Narrow, we are working to contribute towards fulfilling the new National Development Plan, NDP3, which requires us to ensure that we are making agriculture more industrial relevant. So some of the technologies you're going to see today are going to be about how we are transforming agriculture using technology, using value addition, as well as post-harvest handling. As a country, right now we have a lot of challenges because of the post-harvest handling, how we handle our products after we have released them. So some of the technologies are to help us to address that, so that our products are more marketable, both at local, regional, and international markets. But also, we want our products that we generate as Narrow to help this country so that our farmers, the public, have better food and also generate more income, which will improve on our lives. So I hope you enjoy what we have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zawedi. That is Dr. Zawedi, the director of Muzadi, which is one of the Narrow centers, and it's based here in Mukono, Ntawo. So for all the farmers that are out there and you want to learn more about fish and coffee, for fish you can come here to Muzadi. Then for coffee you can go to Nakori, which is on the other side of Mukono on Katosi Road. It is at this point that I'm going to take you now to coffee, but please, for those of you who have questions, be posting them on our Facebook pages, both Daily Monitor and NTV, so that the experts are able to answer to your questions. So right now, let us usher you into the coffee session so that you're able to know more about the coffee, especially in this era, how you take about the advantages during the COVID era 19. Thank you very much.
That is it, the first virtual farm clinics. And please keep those questions coming. Ask as much as you can about fish, about coffee, because right now we are now heading to yet another training, another interesting training in coffee. Behind me I have quite some interesting value addition products from coffee. I can see a cake here. Can I test one? Okay. We have a cake here, and we have, this is coffee. Coffee, they also make some lotions here. Very, very quite interesting products. You need to find out, and you need to keep locked in and follow this training, because right now we are first going to the garden. We have Dr. Seru over here. He's going to be taking us through how to plant coffee, how to manage a coffee garden, what kind of pests will you expect in a coffee garden, and how do you manage the same. Dr. Seru, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, Dr. Seru, planting coffee. Yes, planting coffee. So this is a coffee, what do you call it? Is it a coffee hole? A coffee pit. Oh, I'd called it a coffee hole. Okay, this is a coffee pit, and I think I can now hand over to Dr. Seru. Take it up.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Godfrey Seru, a research officer in Naro. I'm going to take you through how to establish a coffee plantation. First of all, at the establishment, you must select a very good site which is not waterlogged and which doesn't have a lot of sandy soil. So a loam soil is preferred for that. And once you've selected the soil, it's important that you kill off all the notorious weeds like the couch grass. After that, you are set to start digging the holes or the pits. The spacing for coffee should be 3 meters by 3 meters. From one line to the next line, 3 meters or 10 feet. Then within the line from one pit to the next should also be 10 feet. And this is the size of a pit. The standard size of a pit, it should be 2 feet by 2 feet and 2 feet downwards, as you see it here. And now when you are digging, you have to separate the soils. Here you can see we have already done it. The top black soil is put on the upper side of the slope, and then the red soil is put on the lower side of the slope. The idea here is we are going to put this black soil back to the pit, and then mix it with manure, and we also put it on the upper side so that once it rains, the black soil is washed into the pit and the red soil is washed away. Now here, once you've finished digging, you have to mix the black topsoil with manure like he's doing. It's important that you add about a bucket or a basin, which is about 20 kilograms. You mix it thoroughly like he's doing, and then after mixing it thoroughly, you will mix it with a handful of DAP. This is the DAP here. Yeah, this is the DAP. So you mix it with the DAP. The importance of adding DAP is to stimulate root growth. So yeah, he has finished mixing. Use a hoe to put it back. Use a hoe to. So use a hoe. So now you fill the pit with the black soil like he's doing. As he does that, then we have to look at the seedling. The seedling that you use should have a minimum of 3 pairs of true leaves. Like you see here, these are the leaves. So how do you remove it? You first of all squeeze the pot like that so that the soil sticks together. You squeeze it for the soil to squeeze to fit together. Then you can either tear or just pull it out. And now this is our seedling. We can see all the roots. After filling you have to fill the pit up to the brim. And after filling it up to the brim, you dig a hole in the middle. Then you place your seedling and cover with the soil. You have to make it a bit firm so that the roots get into contact with the soil very, very well. So after this, depending on the environmental conditions, you may need to shelter this with either some old banana leaves, but if it is rainy, so you may not need to provide shade. So here you can see that the last pair of leaves should be above the ground. So that's it. You can provide some shade, but for this we may not add. And now after this you have to constantly water, probably twice a day, to make sure it gets enough moisture, and you maintain it. The plantation should be maintained weed free. Then once it is 2 feet high, you have to do what we call bending. Okay, now the watering, you should use a watering can, and it's advisable that you do it on the side so that the water doesn't go direct to the plant. Then after about 6 months or 5 months, this plant will have grown to a height of 2 feet. There you have to bend it. The bending stimulates the initiation of the branches. And when bending, you bend in the east-west direction. That is, you bend it towards this side, so that now the nodes on this side get direct sun rays, which will stimulate the production of branches, development of branches. And you leave it there until you get several branches. After about 3 months, you release the stem to come back to its normal position, and then let the branches grow. From here, Dr. Kagezi is going to show us the management.
Thank you very much, viewers. My name is Dr. Godfrey. I'm a senior research officer. And I'm going to talk about managing the coffee. First of all, viewers, I want to remind you, or tell you, that it's only a coffee which has a roadmap, and that roadmap says that by 2025, we need to produce 20 million bags, and that's a presidential directive. So we have to do that, and we thank both NARO and UCDA Uganda Coffee Development Authority for enabling us to see that we attain this. And when you're a coffee farmer, there are 2 tools. In addition to all the tools you have, for a coffee farmer, you need to have 2 tools. This one is called a sekatia, or locally we call it sekatawa. And then you have this one, which is a pruning saw. And these ones, for any coffee farmer, is supposed to be having them. And how do we manage a coffee garden? First of all, my colleague Dr. Seru told you, you are supposed coffee, bananas, and maize. They are 3 crops which really love water. So for any coffee, for a coffee plant, you need to conserve moisture. And we can conserve moisture either by mulching or by planting shade trees. And you see in the background that we have shade trees. But one of the simplest ways is to plant bananas. And for bananas, they have a lot of advantages, because bananas are food, and they can also give you money as you wait for your coffee. So when it comes to management, you need to apply fertilizers. After bending, when your coffee is 6 months, you need to give it another fertilizer. You remember, Dr. Seru told us we give it DAP. DAP is rich in phosphorus. Phosphorus is for the roots. But now the coffee is grown. The coffee is now a youth, so it needs to grow up. It needs to eat nitrogen. So you give it NPK 25-5-5. And for each seedling or each coffee plant, you give it about 125 grams. And you apply that twice a year. That's in the two rainy seasons. And for fertilizers, you have to do it when it's raining. Don't do it in the dry season, because when you do it in the dry season, you are just waiting it. All of it will evaporate. Then after that, we need to remove these suckers. These are called suckers. For the suckers, we use the pruning saw or the secateur. And this brother of mine is going to show you how to do it. And this one should be done regularly, because suckers, they are like being parasites to the coffee plant. They eat the food which would go for the berries. So we have to be doing it. Then we have to do with the management. Coffee, maize, bananas, they don't entertain weeds. So a farmer should make sure that the field is weed free. Either you can do it by mulching, or you can weed by hoe, or you can apply herbicides. But for herbicides, you don't need to overuse them, because they also have their disadvantages. After that, we have one of the main challenges now to coffee, pests and diseases. Coffee has so many pests, but I will not talk about all of them, but I'll talk about the major ones. Now the major one is called the black coffee tooth borer. And this is a sample of what the black coffee tooth borer does. It bores into this is called the twig or the primary branch. It bores, I think you can see the hole, that small hole. It makes a pin-sized hole, and it lays its eggs, feeds on the coffee, and the coffee dries. So that means the farmer is losing all the plants he has. So what the farmer, as Naro, we have come up with a management practice. You need to cut off, use the secateur I talked about to cut off the infested, and then burn. Don't leave in your fields, because when you live in your fields, that means you are making another nursery for the twig borer. Then you have to look after your coffee. You need to give it fertilizer. When you are stressed, when you don't eat well, when a disease comes like COVID, it will kill you very fast. But when you are feeding so well, it might not kill you very fast. So coffee needs to be killed. But also research has shown us that this twig borer is promoted by shade. So as much as we are telling farmers to have shade trees, they should minimize, they should manage the shade up to about 50%. Then we have a related pest. It's called the coffee berry borer. You can see that small hole. Most farmers, unfortunately, they don't know that this is a pest, because they don't see the effect like the twig borer. But for us, we know that this one contributes a lot. That's why we have a lot of coffee floats, because of the twig borer, because it feeds on the real berries, and then it reduces the harvest. Then we have the mealbags. The mealbags also feed on the coffee, and this one is more on Arabica coffee. For coffee, it's as if we are working on two crops. Because Robusta and Arabica, when it comes to pests and diseases, they have different pests and diseases. And today we are concentrating more on Robusta, because this is what you see here. Then for the diseases, coffee doesn't have a lot of diseases. There are few, but those diseases can really be lethal. For example, the main disease has been the coffee wilt disease. This plant you see here is developing symptoms. It dries, and it doesn't put on coffee, so the farmer loses. And this disease, as you might remember, those who were around like me in 90s and early 2000s, they wiped out almost 50% of our Robusta coffee. Here we need to thank Naro and UCDA for coming up with resistant varieties. Currently we have 10 resistant varieties. We have 7 already with the farmers. The 3 new ones which were released in 2017 are yet to reach the farmers. But I promise you that very soon they'll be reaching the farmers. But also we tell farmers that first of all, when you see any plant which is wilting, first check, because even the twig borer causes wilting, as you can see. But if you see the hole there, then that's the twig borer. Don't uproot your coffee, just cut and burn. But when you try to bend this and it is just bending, not breaking where there is a hole, that means it's coffee wilt. Or when you scratch a little bit and you see a purplish coloring, that means coffee wilt. So we advise the farmer, cut it and burn it in situ, all where it is. Don't transport it. If you transport it to another place, you are transmitting the disease. Then recently, there is a disease which is becoming a very, very big challenge in Robusta, and we have also seen it in Arabica coffee. It's called the red blister. Red blister is also a fungal disease, and scientifically, it's a disease which is promoted by a plant being stressed. So we advise farmers always to see that their coffee is under shade, but also they need to give fertilizers, to give manure to their coffee so as to reduce the effect of red blister. But currently Naro is doing more studies. When the infection is very high, we advise farmers to use tebuconazole fungicide to limit the use of chemicals, because they also have their own problems. Then, apart from that, we need to the coffee fields need to be very clean, because when you clean your field, or when you do all the desuckering, when you do all the management, I can assure you reduce the pests and diseases. Thank you, viewers.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kagezi. Quite a very informative session. I have one question for you. As a layman, if, for example, I looked at this coffee plant, I see different colors of the coffee seed. I see orange, I see something like yellow, something like red. When is the coffee fruit right for harvest?
The coffee berry is right for harvest when it's red. But now you are seeing different, because the problem we have in Uganda is, or in Africa, is that our agriculture is 99.99 rain fed. And flowering in coffee depends on water and the dry season. There is a dry spell for 2 weeks, and then if it rains, it flowers. So that means if that happens, the coffee will keep on doing that. That's why you see there are some flowers, there are some which are ripe, there are some which are still young. But you need to have a red cherry to get a good grade.
Okay, and one final one. You said something, this is called dough. Is it a dough? This one here? DAP. Yes. Okay, so you put it in the pit where you're going to plant your coffee, right? So where do we get this, and what is this made of?
DAP is one of the fertilizers. Coffee needs fertilizers. Any plant needs 3 major ones. NPK. N is nitrogen, P is phosphorus, K is potassium. For a coffee plant, when you are planting it, in fact, most of the plants, because they are kind of developing the roots, they need the P or the phosphorus. That's why we put there DAP. DAP has P, and as it grows, it becomes a youth like you. It needs nitrogen. So that's why I said put there NPK 25-5. That means 25% is nitrogen. It needs that. And then when it's old like me and it's producing, it needs the K, the potassium. So there you put there nitrogen, I mean NPK, which is 17 to supply the what? The K. And you asked me where to buy. We have a lot of problems, a lot of challenges which are beyond narrow when it comes to counterfeit products. But personally, I usually tell my farmers that Burton might be very expensive. Is it MTK? Abukola, they might be more expensive, but at least they are more reliable when it comes to fertilizers and chemicals.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kagezi and Dr. Geoffrey Seru. By the way, both are called Geoffrey. Godfrey.
Yeah.
Dr. Geoffrey Godfrey Kagezi, and Dr. Godfrey Seru. I hope you learned a lot from coffee. We still have a lot to learn from coffee. We have the value addition section, and that is where we are heading to just right after here. And as we head there, I can maybe ask Dr. Kagezi just a thing, and as we move to the value addition. So I see something like lotions, I see cakes. How do you come up with these things? Do you have kind of an on-station factory? How does coffee manage to produce such a product?
First of all, I need to tell you that the NDP3 is looking at agro-industrialization. The narrow strategic plan is looking at agro-industrialization, and that's part of our agro-industrialization. Every institute in Narrow is supposed to have a part on agro-industrialization, and that's why we have those products. But where they make them, I think those people will talk about them. Okay. Since I've talked about pests and diseases.
And are you saying now you're handing over to Mr. Semalulu?
Yes.
Mr. Semalulu.
Yes, please.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
So here we are, the value addition section.
Yes,
what do you have for us?
At the moment, we are training farmers, especially in when it comes to value addition. I'll go straight to the coffee picking section. Coffee mainly is in our economy. Coffee has gone down, especially in bringing in income from foreign earnings. This is mainly brought out by poor quality coffee produced by farmers, and quality coffee is determined through the processing. It's handled, the way it's handled, you know. And at here, we are trying to demonstrate to farmers on how to handle coffee if you want to get the best qualities, which will promote our coffee internationally. And when we are starting with coffee picking, we have to do selective picking from the trees. We do selective picking because a coffee tree doesn't ripen it doesn't ripen at the same time. It ripens from time to time. So what we do is you go and pick only the ripe cherries. Leave out the unripe, because in the future they will ripen. Pick out the ripe cherries and take them for processing. We mainly have two processing methods, and here in the central region we use mainly dry processing method. In dry processing method, we mean by picking coffee from your garden, take it to a drying rack, like in this form, or a tarpaulin, or a cemented block, and lay your coffee in the sun. The reason why we put coffee mainly on a raised rack or a tarpaulin is because we don't want that coffee to absorb mycotoxins. Those mycotoxins cause diseases, and they also increase on the defects that we get from coffee. So you dry your coffee from, let's say from around 8, and take it out of the sun at around 6, so that it doesn't absorb the night moisture. Then take it back in the morning. You do that, mainly takes around 21 days for the coffee to fully dry to the required moisture content, which is relatively 12% moisture content. And here we see that coffee, which is dried very well, looks like this. We also have another processing method, which is wet processing. This is commonly done in Arabicas. And Arabica coffee grows in highland areas like the Bugishu region, the Rwenzori region, and for them, the coffee has a very good taste, and it's preferred more by coffee drinkers. The way it is processed is that when we pick coffee, fresh coffee from the garden, it is washed clean, and it's put in a pulper. This is a pulping machine. It removes the red pulp, the outer cover, and we get the inside beans. This is a coffee parchment when it has been pulped immediately. It has a slimy surface, so what we do, we put it in water and we remove this. That process is called fermentation, and then we wash it very well. Put it on a drying rack, and then it takes around 8 days to dry, and then we go ahead and we continue processing the way you learned. We put the coffee in we bring it to this machine here. This is a home pulping hulling machine. What it does for Robustas, which are dry processed, it removes the outer cover, and we get what we call Kase. Kase coffee is Robusta coffee. When it is hulled, we remove the outer cover, and we get the inner bean, which looks like this. This is Kase. Looks like this. And after, we go ahead and we can also hull Arabicas, and we package it very well, store it in a store which is moisture free, and we ready it for more production. Let's say we export it in that form, or we continue roasting it and get more products out of it. Like Dr. Kageze had said, Naro is implementing the NDP agro-industrialization program. We have gone ahead to manufacture, or to develop more products out of coffee, which are either consumable or unconsumable. Like we see here, we have various products got from coffee. We have lotions, we have coffees, like the lady here is going to explain.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Naro stall once again. Like it has already been said, in line with the government's policy, the National Development Plan 3 policy, government is trying to help farmers put more incomes in their pockets and put more food on their tables. Here at Naro, we are helping farmers to know that every bit of coffee counts. Don't throw away your coffee. You can add value to it by making products like body lotions, body scrub, lip balm, especially for the ladies, but even the men can use this to make themselves look beautiful. We have body lotion out of coffee. We also have body lotion out of cocoa, because cocoa is one of the products that is under our mandate as National Coffee Research Institute. In addition, we are also saying the coffee powder is equally important. You need to drink a Ugandan-made coffee. And we are venturing into what we call specialty coffees. Specialty coffees, as you may be aware, are very expensive on the international market. So at Naro, we are adding value to coffee by making coffee powder. And this you can brew at your own pace at home. You can also enjoy coffee yogurt, as you can see, fully flavored with coffee. If you haven't tasted a coffee yogurt, please visit Naro. You will live to tell a story. We also add value to cake, that you'll not have an ordinary cake. Those who are planning birthday parties, weddings, and any other occasions, if you have to remember your occasion, make it a coffee-flavored occasion. Now, like I did mention, the coffee powder, this equipment helps us to make the coffee powder. You brew your coffee at your convenience. So the whole of this chain, like I stated in the beginning, is to help farmers to add more value to coffee by improving it. Coffee is no longer just a crop for harvesting and selling the beans, but you can make more products out of coffee. And this is in line with the government policy of eradicating poverty and adding incomes to farmers.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. Thank you so much. So, wow, you said this is coffee
This is
from?
coffee from Naro.
From Naro.
Yes.
And how do you make this coffee?
We, my colleagues have explained before,
Okay.
we harvest the cherries, we take them through the process of drying with proper post-harvesting handling situations, like
Okay.
they explained. Make sure you dry your coffee to the right moisture. Don't put it.
Any specifications if I'm drying my coffee? Do I just lay it on the floor? Do I have to get? I've seen our people using tundubari, you know tundubari.
Yes.
So they put on the tundubari and then they put out in the sun. So are there recommended procedures? Maybe we are using rudimentary procedures.
Absolutely, they are recommended procedures. Don't dry your coffee on the ground
Okay.
because coffee is food. Once you spread it on the ground,
So
you
it means it will actually have stones. in
yes, and other bacteria
Sure.
or other elements which are not good for your health.
Okay.
So the tundubale, like you rightly mentioned, is an ideal for our farmer today. You can spread your tundubale and have the coffee there. If you can afford, you can have a raised rack, like my colleague showed you before.
Okay, and thank you for the viewers watching from the comfort of your home. And recall, I said this is the virtual Seeds of Gold Farm Clinic. You recall previously, like I said before, we were going to the farmer, but now we are bringing the farm clinic into your sitting room. You can learn everything from the comfort of your home. Learning has no limits. Well, this partnership has been made possible by Stanbic Bank, the go-to bank for farmers in this country, NSSF, and of course our hosts Naro, who have made sure that we have these facilities here possible, the demonstration garden you saw for coffee, and also these very, very beautiful value addition products. We also work with NTV that have made sure that this broadcast is live today. Well, at this moment I want to talk to a very interesting person. I think you can come closer here. Thank you. Yeah. The people have to see that Naro and Seeds of Gold are working together. Well, Dr. Barbara Zawedi, maybe I will leave to the honors to introduce yourself to yourself.
All right.
Tell us about yourself, Doctor.
Thank you, Joshua. My name is Barbara Zawedi Mugwanya. I'm the director of Mukono Agricultural Research and Development Institute, which is a part of NARO, and this is the host for the event today. We are very happy to be here, and we welcome NTV and all the partners that have made this farm clinic possible today.
And by the way, you're the first one to host the virtual farm clinic. It has happened today here at this institute for the first time.
Joshua, I have to let you know that Muzadi has been a first of virtues for many things. We were the first to host a webinar of NARO.
Okay.
Yes, so we are virtual people.
Okay, interesting. Dr. Zawedi, something I want to understand. This partnership between Seeds of Gold and NARO has been going on now for 3 years. I want to know, how has this partnership helped NARO to achieve their objectives as far as an organization is concerned?
NARO has greatly benefited from this partnership. We have been able to showcase our technologies. We have been able to work with a lot of people to disseminate the technologies that NARO generates that need to get out to the farmers and to the other users. As NARO, our role is to do research, and when we do research, we need to make sure that people are benefiting. So this farm clinic, the partnership between NTV, Monitor, NARO, and other partners has really helped us to transfer the information that is going to help people benefit from the technologies that NARO is working on. But Joshua, I want to let you know that as NARO, we do not work alone. We are always working with partnerships. We work with the Extension Service, the local government Extension Service. We work with the media, and that's why we are here today. We work with policymakers, but in the terms of coffee, we also work with UCDA, and I really want to recognize today the presence of the regional coordinator for Central Region, Madam Liz Mosisiwaza, who I want to come in the camera to get to be seen. Sorry about that. So we work with UCDA, to promote coffee. And we are very grateful for the partnership, and we are happy to have them here today with us.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zawede. And you said the ladies?
Liz
Lusesa.
Liz Lusesa. Oh, thank you.
I'm the regional manager in charge of Central Region. I work with UCD.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
thank you.
Like all good things, they come to an end. But we told you to send in your questions about coffee and fish. You can now, we are now going to a session where they are going to be answering a bit of those questions, and then we shall call it a wrap. But don't forget, this partnership has been made possible by Stanbic Bank. Okay, welcome back from that short commercial break. It is exactly 10 minutes to 5. And we shall be diving right into the next training that is about fish farming. And like we promised, at the end of this session, we shall be taking a bit of your questions. So keep those questions coming. Send on our digital at NTV Uganda on Twitter, NTV Uganda on Facebook. Keep those questions coming, because in a bit we shall have the experts coming to answer those questions just after this training. My name again, I'm Joshua Watwaluma, Senior Activations and Promotions Officer for Nation Media Group. So the next training, like you see, we have fish here, and just like you saw with coffee, we also have some value addition products from fish, which the experts will tell us. We also have the fish here, but again, we have fish ponds around us, and we shall show you all that in a bit. And I have a gentleman next to me here, Mr. Andrew Izara. Mr. Andrew Izara is a fish expert here at Naro, and he will be taking us through this training. Mr. Andrew, good evening.
Good evening to Joshua.
Is it evening already?
Yes, it is.
Is
You're
it
welcome.
afternoon,
It's
evening?
a wet afternoon, Joshua.
Wet afternoon, yeah, sure.
Yes.
But my colleague Elizabeth said, there is no agriculture without rain. So
True.
the rain is surely a blessing to the crop.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you can take it away with fish now.
Thank you very much, Joshua, and good evening, viewers. Like Joshua said, this is Mukono Agricultural Zonal Research Institute, and today we are looking at fish farming. Let me tell you a little story about fish in Uganda. Uganda has about 18% land surface covered with water, which means we should be producing a lot of fish. The interesting bit is that we are not producing as much as we should be producing. The national target right now for fish farming is 1 million metric tons, and we are doing only 120,000 tons per annum. That target needs to be achieved by 2030, so we need to increase our production in fish farming by a whopping 300% by the year of 2030. We can't increase that fish by increasing the fish coming out of the lakes, so we have to increase it by growing it. We take the fish, we multiply it, we give rise to young ones, we give them food, we grow them, we harvest them, we pack them, we sell them, we repeat until we attain the target. So there is indeed a huge production gap and also a huge production potential in Uganda, and we need to cover it, and the only way to cover it is through fish farming. So what are those things that you need to think about if you want to go into fish farming? You can't just go in. You have to make certain considerations, just like you make considerations when you're going to do poultry or piggery or dairy. You must have certain considerations. One of the things you want to consider is, why am I going into fish farming? Some people go into fish farming for leisure. They want to see good fish in their homes looking nice like this and like that. But others say, I want to grow fish to eat. That's also good enough. It's a valid reason. The last category are people who say, I want to make money out of my fish. And since this is a farm clinic that is supposed to help to increase people's incomes in line with government policy for making everybody wealthy, I think that the business side people will be very, very interested in what we are talking about today. So if you're going into fish farming for commercial reasons, now you have to decide for yourself what farming system do I want to use? There are two basic types of farming systems. The conventional ones, conventional meaning that everybody is using it, it's been acceptable everywhere, it's applicable almost in every environment. Then there are unconventional systems. Again, the conventional systems are systems as simple like ponds, where you make earth basins, or you make troughs with concrete or with wood, and you put water and grow fish there, just like you're seeing here. The other one are cages. Cages are nets that are floating on the surface, on the water surface, where water is continually washing the nets, where the fish is held, and where the fish is growing. Those are two conventional means. There are other unconventional means which are coming up in this country, becoming more popular by the day. They include tanks, concrete tanks, brick tanks. These are brick tanks. Concrete tanks would be similar, but complete with concrete. Like there's one up in our background, which you should be able to see. They are dam-lined ponds. They are earth ponds, but they have a plastic lining so that they don't allow too much seepage and water loss. There are aquaponics, hydroponics, hydrogeoponics. What this means is that you're growing fish on one end, you're growing crops on the other end, and the two are interdependent, and they are supplying one another with nutrients and with other benefits. And the last one is probably the most sophisticated one, which is the recirculating aquaculture system, where you keep recycling the same water. It is very water efficient, but it's also very costly and it's very power dependent. But if you're growing the right fish, it should be able to work for you very, very well. So once you decide which system you want to go for, then you must decide which fish you want to grow. The fish you want to grow is determined by the market. So you don't just grow anything. You grow the fish that can sell. So if you want to go into fish farming, one of the things you want to think about in the initial stages is who will buy what I'm going to make. If you say you go to the market now and the fish that is on the market is tilapia and you're going to see some tilapia here, then that's the tilapia you're going to buy. If there's another fish to grow, if that's another fish that people are interested in and it fetches the money, then we'll go with the one which fetches the money. So the market should inform the product. What many people do, they just go and grow fish, then they start looking for the market. That's not fair and that's not right, because it's going to cost you money for nothing. So decide on the type of fish, buy what is being sold in the market. Same thing with products. Some will say, okay, I want to grow fish, but I want you to give me this kind of product. So that product, if you want fillets, then you have to look for a fish which gives you better fillets. I'll give you an example. If you grow tilapia, for example, the yield, percentage yield of fillet on tilapia is 30%. Another fish like catfish will probably give you a higher fillet, but you have to decide depending on what the market is saying. The other thing that you want to consider is the level of intensity. You can grow fish with little intervention. So you put fish in water, you put some food when you can, and let it grow at its own pace. That's one way of growing. It won't give you very many crops every year, but it grows. The fish will grow. Fish is generally robust. The other way is when you intervene into the life of the fish more often. So it means that you are growing fish actively, you're giving it food, you're monitoring it, you're checking its health, you're looking at how it is growing, you're seeing how it is performing in terms of weight gain. So that is a more intensive, close quarters control of the growing of the fish. So that has an implication. It means that you're going to grow certain quantities of fish, but also means that you're going to spend a certain amount of money below which you'll not be able to make that system work. The other one is technical competence. Don't just go into fish farming from hearsay. A lot of people just rush into it because they had their neighbor is doing it. Now, fish farming is the one thing which you don't do because you had someone is doing it. You must find someone who knows how the fish you're going to grow behaves, who walks you through it, works with you, and make sure the fish is doing what it's supposed to be doing when it is supposed to be doing it. Those people are available, fortunately. The country has been training over 50 people every year at degree level and several others at diploma for the last nearly 20 years. So they are available if you look you can find. And if you are stuck, you can't find the right people to help you with your farming, please reach out to Naro. Naro has experts that can help you to grow the fish and do what you want to do with it. The other one is water quality. What is water quality? Fish live in water. They do all their business in water. So if the water that they are in is not suitable for their growing, they are not going to grow. So how do you know the quality of the water? You can't look at the water and say, oh, this water is good or that water is bad. You need to have the right equipment to check the quality of the water. This is one of those units. This is a multi-parameter water quality meter. Let me get my notes. Very good. So it has a probe, it has a reader. So you drop the probe in the water, all right, and take the readings on the screen. Now these ones are available in various forms and various sizes and various capabilities. You can get those which can record live and put on your computer from home, or you can get those which can save on the device, or you can get those which you can take the notes by pencil and ink. The more sophisticated, the more expensive the unit is. So you want to go with probably a simpler system which can take a few parameters at a time. This machine can take both oxygen, temperature, conductivity, and pH. But you can also get smaller portable units that can take fewer measurements. Let me see if I can find my own hands right here. This is a simple pH meter. In case you want to take pH, you also dip it in the water and take a reading so that you're able to record the quality of that. The bottom line of this whole conversation is that fish water has got to be a certain quality. You need to have your oxygen right, you need to have your ammonia right, you need to have the freshness of the water right. You don't get that, then fish is going to start giving you trouble. It's going to start breathing badly, growing poorly, eating poorly, or even dying in some cases. So you need to be able to ascertain the quality of the water. The other thing which you need to appreciate is the quality of the seed. Even fish has seed. So the young ones of fish, we call them seed. The other words we use in the place of fish seed are fingerlings or fry, without an S, fry, whether there are many or few. So that is something that you need. The quality of the fingerlings and the fry determine the quality of the fish that you're going to grow. One of the things that we are heavily invested in as Naro, and especially at this institute, is to ensure the production of the highest quality of tilapia fingerlings. What does good quality fingerlings look like? So Alan here and his colleagues have a couple of high quality fingerlings that if the camera would come closer, they'll be able to show us. They are uniform size, they have the right shape, they are not sick, they are swimming properly. Alan, you can lift some. They are the same species, they are healthy, they are swimming well. Those are high quality fingerlings. But now the other special thing about this one is that they are only males. Why? Because males grow at 30% faster rate than females, because of course females are going to go into laying eggs and producing young ones, and it becomes a whole sophisticated problem for them. They lose time and they lose growing body weight. So we need to grow only males, and here we produce only male tilapia fingerlings, which look like just what we've seen in the bucket down there. So these fish, you have to be sure that they're coming from a good source. A good source has pedigree. Don't get fish from any source you find. Pedigrees, they must be known to be growing well. Some people must have taken them to their farms and grown them, and must have looked very, very well in terms of the performance and in terms of their weight gain. I want Alan to show us something. When you get these fish, they must be counted, they must be weighed, they must be numbered. You must know what quantities of fish that you're taking into your farm. Don't just take an estimate by the eye. Again, if you do that, you're going to find yourself losing in terms of the numbers of fish that you're getting or the quantities that you're getting. So in making the numbers, counting the numbers that you're supposed to put in your unit, you take a weighing scale. A digital weighing scale is a critical issue at the farm. You take a weighing scale, then you tear, put water in a bucket and tear. Tearing is bringing the weighing scale to 0. So Alan, did you tear that one? Good, do it again. Fine. Then you tear, and then you put a batch of fish inside. One batch, maybe you want to put more than one. Put them all, put another. Good. Then you record the weight that you have put in. Do you have a record for that? Alan, give me a number. Give me a number. What's the number there? What's the weight? Weight. Give me the weight. 95 grams. According to Alan, we have 95 grams of fish. So he's going to count them. I need very fast counting. After counting, he will give us a number for the fish. Then we'll take the weight and divide by the number of fish and find the average body weight of the fish. Once you have the average body weight of the fish, you multiply by the total number of fish that you have, or you weigh the rest of the fish. I know that this is the weight I have. Then you can compute backwards and be able to estimate the number of fish that you have depending on the total weight of the fish that you get. Counting, 35. So Alan has 35 fish, all right? So in this case, what is the average body weight, Alan? It is 95 divided by 35, which is about maybe 2.9 grams. So that's the weight of the 2.7 grams of each fish. So each fish is about that weight. Now that brings us to another critical element of fish farming. You must decide the quantity of feed you're going to feed periodically. You don't just decide on the first day that I'm going to give 10 kilograms to my fish. Say, for example, if I want to give these fish here some food, all right? I have some fish inside here. I give them some food. Hopefully they're happy to eat it. Yeah, good. The question is, how much of that food do I need to put on a daily basis? And that's the question we must answer. So you take the average body weight of the fish, you multiply by the number of fish that you have, which you predetermined while you're putting them in, all right? And then you take a percentage of their body weight. So for instance, those which are big, you will multiply here by a percentage of, say, 3%, okay? Then you can get the quantity of food that you need to put. What is that percentage if I use 3%? 3% body weight should come to about 10 grams, right? Should come to about 10 grams of fish, of food that you're going to put in every day in this. Then at the end of 30 days, you repeat the exercise. Take a few fish, put them in the bucket, weigh again, multiply, count the total volume of fish that you have inside there, take a percentage of body weight of that fish and determine how much food you're going to give again. Repeat until you know the fish has come to an age or size that you want to harvest it. What farmers do is that they just go there, pour food and go. Or they never put food. At 6 months they come to harvest, they find nothing and they're very disappointed. So I think that today we can solve the problem of not knowing how much food that you can put in your fish. Now, how do you stock? How do you decide how much you're going to put into a unit? If it is tilapia, please, if it is tilapia, count 3 fish for every square meter. 3 to 4 fish for every square meter. So you take the area length times width, and then you multiply by the number of square meters times 3. If you do more, you're risking to overstock your unit. When you overstock your unit, the fish will grow up to a certain point and then they'll stop growing. And then you hear stories, those fish don't grow. The fish are okay. The one who is growing them is the one who is not okay. So we need to correct that. If you're growing in a pond, if you're growing in a cage, and I must keep mentioning people in the cage because they're easily forgotten, the fish you can put in a cage is 78, plus or minus, 78 fish per cubic meter. Now, the cubic meter in a cage is area, then depth, okay? It's length, width, then depth. You have to have some bit of maths in your, on your farm if you're going to succeed in fish farming. If you can't do the math yourself, get someone to do the math for you, because a lot of these things are dependent on the calculations that you make. You get the calculations wrong, you're going to feed wrong, you're going to harvest wrong. So what is the growth rate of these fish? These fish should grow between 7 and 9 months. Now, a lot of stories we will have heard that fish grow in 6 months and 3 months. Our experience, which is good experience, is that please, let's expect these fish in ponds to come out at 9 months between 300 and 500 grams, and in cages between 450 and 500 grams in 7 months and in 9 months respectively. So we talked about species, which is the other thing which you want to talk about. Right now there are 2 major species that you can grow in Uganda, and that is because they are accepted in the market, they grow well, they are indigenous, all right? They are not foreign fish. So those 2 species are tilapia. The tilapias, let me have one of your sieves. The tilapias look a lot like this. It's the fish that we know, the ngege. Everybody knows this fish. You've seen it in the market. It has some darkish back and some light stomach. It can have a reddish color sometimes. They can have, yeah, that's how they are. So, or you can grow the North African catfish, which looks like this. It has a flat head, some bit of gray colors on the stomach and some dark colors on the head. Characteristic with this catfish that has like whiskers of a cat, so hence the name catfish, all right? That's how it looks. And those 2 fish grow quite well. They grow quite well when it comes to growing fish in our water here. And you can grow them very well. They are easy to market. They put on good flesh. They taste fantastic. We have had stories about, do fish from farms taste well? Oh, they taste fantastic. One day you should come here at Mukono Zadi and we'll give you some of those wonderful fish. But that's not the only fish that we can grow. The National Institute at National Fisheries Resources Research Institute is developing other species. One of the species they are developing is the chisinja, which is a traditional fish, very well known for people who live around the rivers, River Nile, I think also the Kagera, some of those very fast-flowing rivers. This has been bred and hatched and raised in the station at Nafiri in Kajansi, and they can make it available for farmers who want it, who want to use it. It is able to eat, accept artificial food, which is a fantastic thing for a fish which has been got from the wild and domesticated. In only 10 years, the record time, it is able to accept our food and is able to grow on it very fast. This fish can grow up to 5 kilograms. So it's a very, very good candidate for commercial fish farming. So when you grow fish, one of the things that you must understand is the role of fish feed. And that's something which we need to continuously emphasize. Fish feed is between 50 and 70% of the total cost of growing fish in a farm. That is a very, very serious cost. If you mismanage your feed, you cannot make profit in your fish farming enterprise. So we have multiple feeds. Let me start with a feed which we make at Naro ourselves. This feed is made at Nafiri Kajansi. It is our own formulas, it's our own equipment, it's our own scientists who are developing this feed. This feed has one special characteristic about it. It is a sinking food. Let me show you the difference. This food, when we put it up on the water, it tends to float. So the fish swim up and they eat it. This fish, if I put it on the same, off it went down under, all right? It sinks quite fast. Which means that the fish which eat that food must be able to catch it before it gets to the bottom. If they don't catch it before it gets to the bottom, then it will benefit the fish which we eat from the bottom. Now, this catfish here, as you can see, even in its swimming here, it likes the bottom very much. So when you send that fish down there, this fish will benefit a lot from it because it can catch it even if it falls down. Tilapia, on the other hand, does not like feed. Once it falls on the ground, then it doesn't pick it from there. So you would like to go with the feed for tilapia, which floats. And if you can't, the catfish, if you're doing catfish, you need to go with the feed which sinks. And this feed which we are producing ourselves at Naro is able to give you fantastic results. The other feeds that, as you saw me drop there, a floating feed, these are industry-made, factory-made. Most of these are imported, all right? There are very wonderful friends of ours who are importing feeds from all sorts of places in the world. And the reason for importing feed is not because people want very luxurious feed, it's because it is a very highly technical process to make good quality floating feed. And we don't have that equipment here to do the kind of volumes and the quality that we are looking for. So feed is generally imported. Young fish will eat the powdered food. The older fish, slight younger fish will eat the smaller pellets until you get to the biggest pellet size, which is eaten by that size of fish, which is this same food that we have been trying to use on these fish. As you can see, they're very eager and very happy to take that feed from where it is. Now, also, the quality of the food changes as you come from the small size to the big size. So this one here, the small size will be about 57% crude protein, give or take. And as you go up, it goes to 48, 44, 35, until you get to 27 here at the top. And 27% crude protein is really good. The thing you're looking for in quality of feed is crude protein. Why? Protein is the growing part of the feed. And the job we are doing in growing fish is growing the size of the fish. So you want the fish to eat food with high protein. However, protein is expensive. So the higher the protein, the higher the cost, the higher the price per kilo or per ton of this kind of food. Fortunately for us, the fish don't eat a lot of this very high protein food. When they're young, they'll take a few grams, 10 grams, 20 grams, 50 grams, 100 grams per day. Not a lot, but the price very high. This one here, they take large quantities of it, but the profit is, the price and the cost is a bit lower for this bigger pellet feed. So one or two more things that are happening at our stations is that we have been able to extract a fantastic high nutrition fish oil from the Nile perch, the Mputa, all right? This is omega-3 oil. It is as good as cod liver oil. The only difference is that this is not cod liver. It's not from the cod fish. It is from our local fish here, Nile perch. It's available at Nafirika Jansi. It's good for you and for your children. It's good for the development of the nervous system. It's good for brain development. It's good for all nervous system developments. We're also trying to find alternative sources of protein. Like I said earlier, protein is expensive. Currently, protein comes from fish meal, mukene, this kind of guy, all right? Now, this is food for human beings and also food for animals and pigs, and everybody wants a piece of this guy. Now, the problem is that the cost of this is always increasing because the priority is to feed human beings than to feed what? Than to feed animals. So we are looking at this black soldier fly as an alternative source for fish meal. High protein, easy to produce, grows very fast, and does not have competition for other sources. I haven't seen human beings trying to eat these little guys here. And we can process it as a dry ration, all right, in two different categories so that we're able to store it over a period of time and use it to produce this kind of feed or this kind of feed. Those are things that you need to consider when you are growing fish. I think at some point you're going to take a moment and answer some questions. Or if there's anything that is very interesting, we'll be very glad to add some good information.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. That was a very quite elaborative session.
One more thing perhaps I need to add briefly is that you're going to need to find this feed somewhere, okay? So here we're using feed from Planex. I think Planex Group has a bag here. They are branded as Laguna, and sometimes we use Cowdies. Everybody knows Cowdies now in the fish farming and other animals, so they provide very good quality feed, but that's when we are not using our own, which is this one from Naro. So that's what I needed to say about fish feed.
Wow, okay.
Good.
For the viewers watching from home, from the comfort of your home, from the comfort of your living room, like we said, please keep sending in those questions because now is the time. If you have a question about coffee, where we started, if you have a question about fish, anything, through all the value chain, you can ask. The experts are here with us. The bank is here, Stanbic Bank, our sponsor. Stanbic Bank is the biggest firm that is sponsoring farmers in Uganda. NSSF also has a voluntary benefit. So don't be at home and say, okay, for me, I'm a farmer, the NSSF system does not capture me. No, 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 no. NSSF now has a voluntary benefit system. So farmers can now go to NSSF and then you register yourself. We have the ladies here, they will be telling us how you can onboard the voluntary system. But also, we want to thank Naro that have made this training possible. You've seen they've given us the practical sessions. They made sure the fish is available. You know very well where we started in the coffee plantation. So I think it has been a very informative session. Myself, I must say, I've learned a lot. One question: the fish. How do, for example, someone out there would want to know if they started growing this fish, how easy, how ready is the market for them, and how would you recommend that a farmer, for example, what should I say? Something like how do they best market their fish? Because I understand the fish that goes to the market has a lot more from where it started from, right from when it was young and all through the process. So what advice would you give a farmer who wants to take their fish to the market, and how should they do it? Any idea about the market price?
Excellent. So marketing, like I said at the beginning, the consumption deficit for fish in Uganda exceeds 600,000 metric tons. That's how much fish we should be eating. So the eaters of the fish are there. Right now, if you have fish ready, there are people who can come to your farm and collect it and take it to the market. For a fish farmer, it would be easier for you to sell at farm gate. If you sell at farm gate, you're getting between 7,600 and 9,000 shillings per kilogram, which is about maybe 9 million tons tops, 9 million shillings per ton tops. So they can indeed, they can come to your farm and collect the fish from there. Large scale farmers and small scale farmers will sell differently. Large scale farmers who do in excess of 10 tons, 6 tons at a time. Those ones are going to have trucks come and truck the fish away, no big trouble. Small scale farmers who do 400, 600 kilograms every round, borders can come and with their cold boxes and they can take the fish for you to the market. You just have to announce that you have the fish ready.
Okay, Mr. Andrew, there is a question for you here from Laz Elasov. This was picked off our Facebook. Yes. She says, I'm assuming she's a lady. She says, where are the fish farms located in Mukono? Can one go there just to learn any other normal day without being selected, without being subjected to learning fees? So I think what she's trying to ask if say someone watching from home, they want to get maybe a one-on-one with you, can they come here to Muzadi, or where else can they find it?
So Mukono Zadi and Naro are public institutes. So we run an open door policy. Between the working hours of 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock, you are able to walk in a station and inquire not only about fish, but about coffee and about soybean and about all sorts of things. Because this is a taxpayer-funded enterprise, you are free to come and ask without having to be charged any money. So this one is in Mukono Ntao. For coffee, you have to come also to Mukono Ntao, or you go to Nakori, which is at Chituza.
Oh, okay. I think Laz Esselov, that has been answered to your satisfaction. Another question from Bush Ocean. Hope these are really farmers, the names, Bush Ocean. Okay, Bush Ocean says maybe something that you answered earlier. Why is government denying ordinary Ugandans the right to farm and do fish business? Is fish selected for a few in Uganda? Why must fish cost 7 to 10K in an ordinary restaurant? Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes.
I think that Uganda in Africa has the best policies that encourage fish farmers. Let me give you one of them. When you buy inputs for fish farming, you're not taxed. You're not taxed. You can get a tax exemption on inputs for fish farming. That's great. That's like the gold standard. It's so good a policy that I don't think you're going to get it anywhere else. The policies here are so favorable for fish farming. So if you need really to know about fish farming, just approach us. We'll help you. We'll not only help you with the growing of fish, but also with the policies. And I think that the government has done a terrific job about that. Why fish costs 10K or so in a hotel is because this is a very highly demanded product. The reason fish is highly demanded is because it's cholesterol free. You can eat it and you'll not have to worry about your heart or to worry about getting a stroke or shooting up your blood sugars, because it is largely protein and very little carbohydrates.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. And so I'll look at, there is something here that came in from Johnson Omoni, but well, you don't have to answer that. He's appreciating. Thank you, Johnson. Thank you from wherever you're watching from. We have a question for coffee, and I think at this moment I'll invite Dr. Geoffrey Alinaitwe. Please come. Dr. Geoffrey Alinaitwe is the director for NACORI. NACORI is National Coffee Research Institute. He's with us here to answer your questions. Doctor, good evening.
Good evening.
How do you find the farm clinic today?
It's very interesting, only that it's very scientific.
Very scientific.
We are missing a lot of our friends,
yes,
coffee friends, many friends.
That is how far COVID has brought us.
Yes,
initially we had the clinics and we had over 500 farmers turn up, 1,000, unfortunately with COVID. But nevertheless, we felt agriculture doesn't stop. People need to eat every day, and so we can't stop ourselves. Okay. You have a question from Diana Nabuire. Diana says, what do you do to coffee plantation with stunted growth? How can you boost them without removing the stunted ones?
The coffee agronomy is very interesting. First of all, good evening, viewers. So I've not been here the rest of the morning. It's been short period.
You can reintroduce yourself to them.
I'm Geoffrey Alinaitwe, Director of Coffee Research. Agronomy is very interesting. If you do good agronomy, you can actually change the structure and the yield patterns of coffee. When coffee is stunted, first of all, it could be because the soil fertility levels are quite low. In that case, you improve the fertility or the availability of nutrients. But when it's a pest problem, you need someone specialized in pests to help us. Dr. Kagezi is a pest expert.
Okay.
He's going to tell us what you do when the coffee is stunted because of the pests. Dr.
Okay.
Kagezi.
Dr. Kagezi, you can come and tell us. Can I read for you the question again?
Yeah.
Okay, the question says, it's from Diana Nabuire. What do you do to coffee plantation with stunted growth? how can you boost them without removing the stunted ones?
Thank you, Diana. As my director said, we first need to know what's the cause of the stunting, because it can be maybe nutrients, lack of nutrients can cause that, pests can cause that, diseases can cause that. And what we need to do, maybe we need to know where Diana is so that we can send an expert there. He or she takes pictures, sends to us, and then we can know the problem is. Otherwise, there are so many factors, even climate change, even drought, so many factors can cause coffee stunting.
Okay. Okay, please stay right there. No, give them the microphone. Now, this one is from me to you,
Okay.
Dr. Arina Itwe.
Yes, please.
I understand coffee has so many value addition products that we can get from coffee.
Yes.
And from the first training we had with coffee, we saw a bit of lotions, a bit of cakes, yogurt. What can you tell people about coffee? I think people have neglected the coffee crop for a long time, yet it is one of the crops that actually made this country, and it still does. So what benefits can people get from coffee?
Thank you. I'm happy for the first time to get an opportunity to tell viewers that coffee is not a beverage only, it's a high value crop. For many years, Ugandans have cherished harvesting coffee, sorting, like my scientists have been telling you, red cherries, processing red cherries, shipping it to Europe and US for those people to enjoy high quality coffee. If I can tell you the value realized by people in Switzerland, in Germany, is 50 times the value realized here. You can't believe a cup of coffee costing $15, yet here in the country, a kilogram of coffee is less than 10,000. The difference is because for us we've exported raw material. The president usually say we export raw material and give value to the people who do not invest. Coffee, as you see, the coffee bean is what we export, can be used in many ways. For the last 2 years, the National Coffee Research Institute, which is under National Agriculture Research Organization, in partnership with UCDA, we've invested in a research that would result in the development of a wide range of coffee products. There are coffee products that we did not know. They are in the market for many years, but in this country we know coffee is for drinking. We are doing research, for example, in skincare. This is a new area, so we call it byproduct. We say it's a byproduct because it's not intentionally developed for coffee. But it's a byproduct if you grew coffee for export to other people. But it could be the primary product if you grow only varieties for the industry. So you wanted to know what can we do? The research that we do, you can now have yogurt containing coffee. Yogurt containing coffee is very important. Do you have some here? Oh, it's finished. It's very good. You can see, viewers, we had over 1,000 units of yogurt. The people could not spare it, it's already finished. You can have yogurt with coffee flavor. You can have, can I get some creams? You can have cream, it's a cosmetic cream for ladies. It's a special one because coffee contains chemicals or biochemicals that will make your skin grow, shine, and leave around that will make your skin look much younger. I make viewers, I want to make one simple joke. Many ladies want to remain young. For example, when you're 50, you want to remain 25. If you use the coffee cream, Joshua, I promise you, you look 20 when you're 40. And then the lip balms, all these are for skincare. You can also have them as products. But much more, we are doing research in the development of high quality coffee powder. I call it specialty coffee. The quality is much higher and fetches a lot of money. I want to tell you that we're in line with the new policy of agro-industrialization through value addition, and we can do one thing, I promise you, do a lot of import substitution and improve the domestic coffee consumption. By that, we have many alternatives for coffee, and the value will always increase. Thank you very much, viewers.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Arina Itwe. Actually, that was very, very elaborative. We shall have the last question because time is not on our side.
Yes.
And then we shall go for a commercial break, after which we shall come with the final Q&A session. I think this one will be answered by Dr. Godfrey Kagezi. Dr. Kagezi, someone here says, someone called Mulumba Matthias, how can a farmer deal with the black coffee twig borer? I think it is sounds like a coffee disease.
No, it's a pest. Thank you,
Okay.
Matthias Mulumba. Black coffee twig borer is now one of the most important pests of coffee, and how we can deal with it. First of all, you need to know that you are dealing with a black coffee twig borer. And as I said in the training, you need to look at the twig. The twig is the primary branch. And if you see a hole made by it, then it's a black twig borer. Then you get a secatia. Locally we call it secatawa. You cut and burn. Don't cut and leave in the field, because if you leave in the field, that means you are just promoting it. You are making another nursery. You cut and burn. But don't do it alone. You need to do it as a community, because pests and diseases, they don't have a boundary. So if you are doing it, Mulumba, and your neighbor Kagezi is not doing, that means you are not going to do the control. So we are calling on everybody to take care of managing this pest.
Okay, Mr. Mulumba, I think that has been answered. Right about now, like I said, we don't have much time, but before we go for a short break, I just want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have your notebooks with you. I hope you've learned a lot, and right about now, we shall go for a commercial break, and then we shall come in with more of the Q&A session with Stanbic Bank. Remember, I told you Stanbic Bank has made sure.
To the 19th Seeds of God Farm Clinic, and this has been different. It's a virtual Seeds of God Farm Clinic brought to you by Daily Monitor, NTV Uganda, together with our partners, Stanbic Bank Uganda, NSSF, in conjunction with NARO with 2 centers, that is Tusene Nakori and Muzadi, who have also been the facilitators of the virtual farm clinic. Now with me is Melissa from Stanbic Bank, and she's the head of agribusiness. We have gotten a number of questions from our online pages, and one of them is about if somebody wants to get an agricultural loan, what are the requirements? What do they need to do?
Okay. Thank you so much. So for an agricultural loan, you need to, first and foremost, if you're an individual, we'll need your national identification card.
Okay.
If you're a registered entity, we'll need the founding documents for the company to be able to, to get in, to start the process. Next, what's important is to have a good credit history. Credit history is important in the sense that we need to ensure that you have good credit worthy. Okay. Then the third one is we'll need to understand your business, what it is you want to achieve or to do, because we need to structure the facility to meet the needs, what it is you want to actually use those funds for. Okay. And then the other thing that we look at is if you've been in this business before, we'll ask for your audited accounts or management accounts to sort of look at your performance, your financial performance previously, historically. Okay. And then looking at the future, we'll usually ask for your cash flows, your financial cash flows, or your business plan, which will guide us. And the reason as to why we ask for that is just to basically have a good, to ensure that you will be able to service that loan without getting into a place
defaulting,
that, yes, not defaulting, but it might get uncomfortable. It's just to ensure
okay.
that you, even as you're servicing that debt, you still have enough cash flows to meet your other obligations. Yes.
Okay. So Melissa, all I've heard you've talked about is the requirements, you have to be registered and all that. So in the event that we have that farmer who is out there saying Kaberamaido, They know nothing about registration, all that, but they have a farm and they want to get, for instance, tractors or so, and they want to get money. How do they go about it? Because we have very many peasant farmers as well. Some may not even be peasant farmers anyway. They may be farmers, but they are not sure of their capacity, and yet they really want to have these facilities. What are they supposed to do if they're not registered and they don't have some of those requirements?
So once they walk into one of our branches, we'll assist them in terms of acquiring some of the requirements and walk them through that journey to get to a point where they are able to access the funding. But I think you touched on something important that maybe I thought I would expound on, which is around the types of facilities that we do offer for these different farmers. So one is that, for example, it may be, as you gave your example of a tractor. That facility is unique in its way, because I think one of the things that usually hinders people from coming to financial institutions to get funding is the fact that they believe that they don't have security. But if you are purchasing an asset such as a tractor, it could be you're into grain processing and you're looking to buy dryers or put up silos, the asset, that machine that you are looking to purchase is what we then take on as your security. Yeah. And then the other types of facilities we do offer are for working capital, where you need to maybe stock up or to produce. So we'll give you some funding to be able to purchase your inputs. And then you might also be say a coffee trader, and you have a contract, and you are looking to, you're waiting, you supplied, but you've not yet been paid by your off-taker. So what we will then do is, if we'll get those invoices, discount them, give you a portion of that funding, so to allow you to go back and purchase more coffee so that you can supply your next contract. So there are very many different facilities out there that we can put together or structure together to meet the very many needs of the different players within the agriculture sector.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Another question I want to ask is about we now giving these farmers facilities to increase productivity. So in terms of trading, how have you been able to aid them? How is the bank helping them, as opposed to just having the produce as high as possible and yet they're not able to get the markets? Is the bank helping them?
Yes, definitely. I think good enough for us is that we are a young nation, growing and consuming, so the market is there and it's growing. But besides that, as a bank, we've come up with a what we call the Trade Up, and basically what it does is it's a platform, and what we are now doing is collecting information from individuals or companies, and what you then do is provide information of what it is you want to trade in or what you do, and then we profile you. So for example, if you're into, since we are talking about coffee, I'll use the coffee example. You're a coffee trader, so you will then put your information, the type of coffee you're producing, the tonnage, and on the other hand, we also have collecting information from possible buyers, people who are looking to purchase coffee. So then the app automatically connects or links the two of you, and that in a way it starts to, to give you a platform to export. And it could be the other way around. You want to put up something to expand or increase your processing capacity. And so prior to this, we would hop onto a flight quite easily prior to COVID, go look around for the different machinery and import it. But in this case, what we are doing is we're setting up a collection of different suppliers out there, the manufacturers of this equipment. So it would then link you to someone who is able to supply, to someone who you can purchase that equipment from.
Okay, so are you getting these farmers through an app, or is it a website? Where exactly do they go?
So it's if you walk into the bank, you can engage the team at the different branches, and they will assist you in creating that profile for you.
Okay, so if I'm someone who is looking to partner with a farmer and I say I want to go online,
Yes.
is there any particular link where I can go to be able to get to that page?
Yes, we will provide that, but at the branch,
Okay.
the link is there and available, so we will provide that, whereby, so probably maybe what I need to correct is it's not an only export-import kind of connection we are trying to build. It could also be local, as you've said. You're looking for a possible buyer or seller in Uganda. That's also possible. We are creating those profiles so that we can connect the buyer and the seller on that platform.
Okay, I hope we can be able to get the link later on and then give it to the viewers.
Yes.
But as we are coming, as you were coming to the end of the interview with Stanbic Bank, what are your closing remarks?
My closing remarks would be that as a financial institution, as Stanbic Bank, we are committed to the agriculture sector, and our commitment is such that we are currently the biggest lender, commercial bank lender into the sector, and as of now we have over 450 billion shillings that has been lent out into the agriculture sector, and we are willing and are looking to do more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Melissa. This is Melissa, head of agriculture.
Head agribusiness.
Head agribusiness, Bank of Uganda, Stanbic Bank, and they are our platinum sponsor for the Virtual Seeds of God Farm Clinic, and this is the 19th Seeds of God Farm Clinic happening today. We shall have 2 more other sessions, that is on the 28th of November and 12th December. Thank you very much, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right. With me, I'm going to be joined by another lady from NSSF, and that is Claire, who will also be telling us what NSSF has in offering. Here we are with Claire. She'll also be telling us what NSSF has in offering for the farmers out there. Claire.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Somebody's wondering.
Yes.
That usually NSSF
Yeah.
deals with corporate companies.
Yes.
To remit our NSSF benefits and all that.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, some of the corporate organizations are being, chased to pick that money. Now
Yes.
you're here telling us about voluntary saving.
Yes.
For the farmers out there.
Yes.
What do they need to do? What are the requirements for them to be able to start voluntary saving?
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. For a farmer to start saving voluntarily, all they need is their NIN. They just need a national ID and walk into any of our centers. We have branches all over the country, and if you're not able to come to a branch, you find anybody with we have an app. Actually, today I'm advertising the app on my sweater, but anyone with an app can set you up, can get you an NSSF number. So once you have an NSSF number, it is an account. You can start saving for yourself voluntarily on that account. Yeah, it is very simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Claire, NSSF has been one of the partners for the last 3 years.
Yes.
Can you tell us how your journey has been as NSSF with farm clinics? Have you been able to register some farmers in the voluntary section? What has the experience been like?
It has been amazing. This voluntary savings platform is especially meant for people who have had an NSSF number before, who have a balance, and they want to grow their volume. Okay? It's amazing how many farmers have worked in places where they had NSSF being saved for them before. Say he was maybe with a security farm which used to save NSSF. Maybe he was growing sugarcane in Kakira somewhere, and now he has decided to do his own thing. All those people have NSSF numbers that are dormant. Okay? So it's been amazing how many farmers have NSSF numbers, dormant accounts, and now they've been given an opportunity to voluntarily and targetedly save for themselves, knowing exactly what they want to have at their age of retirement.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Claire,
Yeah.
as you're going off the program, what are your closing remarks to the viewers out there, especially the farmers?
At some point, we all retire.
Mhm.
We do not work forever,
Okay.
So right now we might have all the energy we have to get up, you go to your garden at 6, go back at 8 p.m. But there comes a time when you will not be able to do those things. And I'm encouraging all farmers, especially if you have an NSSF number with us that is dormant, that you've not been saving on for a while, please come with your national ID and we set you up and you start saving for yourself with the purpose that at a certain age you will retire decently. Yeah.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
And I hope we shall be seeing you for the next Virtual Seeds of God Farm Clinic.
Definitely.
And the next one will be in Kawanda.
Yeah.
Later on, we shall go to Namulonge.
We are with you.
Thank you very much for coming.
All right, my dear.
So with me again, I'm going to be joined by another gentleman from Nakori, and that is Dr. Ari Nitwe. He's going to be telling us about the mandate of Nakori in terms of in terms of agriculture and what their offerings are, and how much more can we get to learn from them. When we need information, what do you do? What is Nakori supposed to do? Yes, Dr. Ari Nitwe, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers. Again, Jeffrey Nitwe, the Director of Research, National Coffee Research Institute, Nakori. We are mandated to do research in coffee and cocoa. And currently we have a new way in which we feel research can benefit all stakeholders, including smallholder farmers. And there is one thing that we are rethinking, the way research is done, and if it has to benefit farmers, we propose this is the way it should be done. First of all, we want to go to the farmers, interact with farmers in the form of baseline. The baseline seems to be very common, but this is a new approach in which we interact with farmers and identify the challenging issues that need research attention. In the same spirit, we are in the market for processing, for transportation, for handling coffee, to identify the pertinent issues that are within the processing. Then after doing that, then we prioritize all these challenges farmers have or stakeholders have, and then we develop interesting technologies that address those challenges. For example, currently we are planning to do this after these studies. We want to create what we call innovation centers, farm innovation centers for coffee technologies. In this case, target communities, we are going to organize farmers together, and then we create a point that is for dissemination of technologies, including access to high quality seed. At that center, we have a network of private nursery operators that distribute Nakori developed high quality planting materials. Planting materials, I mean the coffee seedlings or coffee cuttings at the Farm Innovation Center for Coffee Technologies. You also find other inputs like fertilizers, like information packages that tells you how to control diseases and pests. Then this is not enough. We know it's likely to have impact, increasing the productivity of coffee, but the coffee needs to be exported or be used. Okay. So to do that, what we plan to do is create an ICT platform that links the technology developers and technology users. In this case, we want to link farmers who produce coffee using Nakori's technologies, using an ICT platform, and link them to people who buy our coffee. In this case, in the new spirit of traceability, a European can buy coffee from Kanungu if he's interested in buying coffee that is grown at this particular altitude. It will be done in the split of a second because they all see each other on the platform. After doing that, we know we have climate change issues, and the climate is changing and coffee is likely to be affected. So the Department of Plant Health, led by Dr. Kakezi, they are developing real-time bioforecasting. What do I mean? We have a computer system where we are going to input what is happening in the farmer's field. If nutrients are lacking, we get information quickly and go and address that particular challenge in a given farm. When this is done, we know what we need now is to create very efficient communication systems. Barbara is there, Nambozo, and we have units that distribute the communication information and technologies to many targeted communities. And if we do that, I promise you, if you have a challenge down in Kanungu and in the north, where, by the way, we intend to introduce coffee for the first time in Kabong, in northern Uganda, in Karamoja, with the Ike people. If coffee produced by the Ike with the unique environment, this coffee is going to be traded at the highest price known on the global market. And once this is established, value addition will be the song. We know we have to do value addition. We need to promote value addition for agro-industrialization. It is becoming a policy. We started it long ago. We are saying coffee can produce a wide range of products that can be consumed on our market, and most of it would be exported locally and regionally. We need to utilize, like the president said, the East African market. We need to utilize the African market. We need to drink coffee as a beverage. It has opportunities. If you drink coffee, I tell you in the morning, 1 cup. If you take 1 cup of coffee, whether you're in media, whether you are an engineer, you are going to use the efficiency of your brain at 98%. Please count on that. And then you can improve in your output. To me, I think, in my opinion, the difference between the performance efficiency of Europe and Africa is because they buy and drink our coffee. If we drank our coffee, you can count on me. We can improve our performance in terms of efficiency by 30% without doing anything. So I call upon Ugandans, produce coffee, support research in coffee, first of all. Then coffee can produce a wide range of technologies that are beneficial to the market and to yourself. And then by then, the income of the smallholder farmers will increase. If you look at the back of our t-shirt, it is produce coffee, increase income, and improve the livelihood. If you drink coffee, I tell you, you support the small farmers there, and together we can build this country into the economies that the president is talking about. Do you know what the economy says? Middle class economy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Initwe, another question I want to ask right now during this new normal, COVID-19, is Nakori still open to the public?
Yes.
Is Nakori still open to the public?
We are following the new normal, you know, the guidelines. We are working at 30%, but we have outlets. We have people who buy coffee. If you want coffee technologies, we are partnering with UCDA. They have a communication center. You can get the technologies. But we also have a written guidelines. If you put on your mask and you follow the procedure, you can come to a particular area where you can get information that you want. Remember, we have newly released varieties where the yield is 5 times the original varieties that we're talking about. Don't miss on these varieties. For the new COVID management, what we call the new normal, you can get these plantlets and plant them. We are open at 30% capacity as per the government guidelines.
Okay, another question is for the farmer out there who wants to grow coffee, you've spoken about the different varieties.
Yeah.
Which one would you advise currently now, the ones which are likely to give them more productivity?
Coffee is not like banana or sugarcane where you have one variety grown. To grow coffee, you need to have at least 4 or 5 new varieties. But currently we released 3 new varieties, the narrow coffee, KR10, and then there is narrow coffee KR9 and KR8. But recently we had released 7 of them. But I can recommend KR7, 8, 9, and 10. Those ones, if you have them in your mixture, the yields are going to be much higher, and you have the big beans where KR10, by the way, it produces 55% of the Squin 18. Squin 18, they are big beans, and in the international market, 1 kilogram is $65. So you don't miss on this variety. Don't miss on the income.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Initwe. Any closing remarks on behalf of Nakori?
On behalf of NACO, we would like to thank the government of Uganda. They gave us a modern laboratory, and UCD's continuous support. They promised to double the support. By the way, if they double the support, we are going to have more technologies, even more technologies of converting coffee into lotions that are going to keep you younger, make you healthy, more products. Let me tell you one thing, one secret. One cake containing coffee, it keeps you energetic for 9 hours. You can trim the carbohydrate that you take. Maybe I'll cut all this if I take this cake. I took it one day, 10 hours, feeling comfortable with a lot of energy. Don't miss on these products. Support research. It will support you better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alinitwe. That was Dr. Alinitwe from Nakori. And like we said, this farm clinic has been brought to you in conjunction with Nakori and Muzadi. So right now I'm going to call upon Dr. Zawede from Muzadi to also come and tell us about the mandate of Muzadi as a station under Naro. Yes, Dr. Zawede, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can you please tell us more about, today we're here specifically for fish, and I know Nakori must have done the coffee. So much as we're here for fish, can you tell us more about some of the other agricultural products that you're mandated to take out there in the farmers, and also the other mandate that you're supposed to carry out as Muzadi?
Thank you very much, Liz. Good evening, viewers. My name is Barbara Zawede Mugwanya, and we thank you for being here with us today. Our mandate is quite broad. So as Muzadi, our mandate is to serve the whole of the central region. So we are one of the narrow institutes, but we serve the central region. And in serving the central region, that means we work on any commodity, any service that helps to improve agriculture in the central region. One of the things we work on, and which we are seeing out right now, is vegetables. As Ugandans and as people who are very close to towns and cities, we have now learned that people need to start doing serious urban and peri-urban agriculture. We saw during COVID, many people were not able to have food, not because they didn't have money, but because they could not get to where the food is. So we are working closely to promote urban farming, including vegetable production and any other commodities that you can produce in your backyard or on your veranda. For example, beans, you can grow potatoes, you can even grow sweet potatoes in buckets. So we want to promote, even in your small backyard, you can have 3 banana plants. And those 3, if you manage them very well, they can feed you the whole year. So we are now, yes, if you manage it and manage the plant, you can actually be getting food, a batch every week, and then another one comes. So we are now promoting that, so that farmers and our people always have food. So that's one of the commodities we work on, or one of the technologies we are working on. We work on other varieties of crops that farmers in central region need. We have banana. Banana is very important for us. So we are now testing what is given to us by Kawanda, the new varieties, and then we share with the farmers. So we provide here banana suckers for the new and improved varieties. I know many people before used to say, ebitoke bye Kawanda tebiwoma. But I want people to understand that as research is a process. So at some point, people accessed the bananas when they were still at research level, when we were still improving them. And as a result, they ended up having bananas that don't taste like they want them, but someone else somewhere likes them that way. But now we have reached a stage where Kawanda has now generated bananas that are improved. They don't get sick, but they taste like the traditional bananas that people know. So we want to encourage people to come and get suckers from Kawanda and from here, so that they continue to produce our mere, ba amatoke ye mere yaffe. So we want to encourage them to do that. We have cassava, we have sweet potatoes, and we provide vines and cassava stems for the improved varieties, again produced by what? By Naro, in this case, Namulonge. So Namulonge generates the varieties that do not get sick, that are more resilient to the changing environment, that are more nutritious. Now we have orange-fleshed, both cassava and sweet potato for nutrition purposes. So we are now multiplying it here in Muzadi, and we give farmers vines. We start by giving people who help us to multiply more, because we can't give all the farmers. So we multiply, give people in our 22 districts, because as Muzadi, we are mandated to serve all the 22 districts of what?
Which
of Buganda.
Which ones are those, the 22? Do you remember of any? Maybe
So
to
there
mention
is-
all of them.
There is Buvuma,
Okay.
Kalangala, Buyikwe, Nakasongola, Nakaseke, Masaka, Mubende, Mpigi, Wachiso. So let's say all the Buganda region districts except Rakai, Sembabule, and some people think Lyantonde is part of Buganda, so also Lyantonde. But the rest, we serve all of them. Bukoma, Nsimbi, Gomba, Mpigi, Wachiso, all of them. Kampala. Kampala is also a district that we actually serve, so we work closely with KCCA. So we have then livestock.
So you have
animals.
centers in all those districts, or if somebody wants something, they have to come to.
So what we have done, we have 2 centers.
Okay.
The first one is here in Intawo, Mukono. This one serves mainly the Mukono, Luwero, Mpigi, Kampala, and Wachiso sub-regions. Then we have one in Kamenyamigo.
Okay.
That is Rengo district. And that one we use greatly to serve the Greater Masaka and the Mubende sub-regions because it's closer. But we work very closely with farmers and even the extension service and local government in the different 22 districts. So if you have any issue, they can actually help you to get to us and you get what you need. So I was still sharing about the commodities. We have livestock, animals.
Okay.
So we have here work on poultry, and here we are focusing more on the local chicken.
Okay.
So we are getting local chicken from different parts of Uganda, and we are now working to improve them. Then we give them to farmers, because many farmers are now saying they want broilers. But broilers are a local version of a chicken somewhere, not in Uganda. So why not promote our own local chicken?
Okay.
Improve
That
them
makes sense.
and share them. So now we are working on improving them, and then we shall share them with what? Back with the farmers, starting with sharing the eggs with the hatcheries. Then they are able to supply the farmers, but also us giving some farmers the old chicken. We are working on piggery. These days we are seeing people looking for pigs left, right and center.
You're right.
So we are now having an intentional drive, not only to produce piglets, but also to improve on our, what we would call local piglets, so that we cross them with the likes of Canberra and we get an improved version of pigs that does not require to be looked